Why don't you come into our monster ball? I'm Ripley Stonebrook. And this is Crandall.
Hey.
And this is Monster Ball. And
You
we're
excited?
Talk about Frankenstein? Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to tell them what... It's a show about monsters, but
Mm-hmm.
we actually rate monsters
With numbers. Hard numbers.
in various categories. And this first series of monster reviews are going to be what type
Universal
of monster?
Monsters
We're doing
from the 30s.
Okay.
Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy. We're starting today with Frankenstein.
Okay, so we will find out by the end of this series of podcasts which Universal Monster, is actually the best.
The best.
I
It's
know
going to be
that-
numbers. Hard numbers.
I mean, that's science.
Is it going to be 1 to 10 or 1 to 5?
10. Let's do 10. Why not?
Okay, 1 to 10.
How many categories
It's 5,
are
you
there?
get too granular. It's 4.7.
I mean, you can do a 4.7 on a scale of 10 as well, and it's the same. You know.
Yeah, but you know.
It's
you're
even
like,
more precise.
You don't have anywhere to go. You're like, alright, get this one more. I'm going to go 4.5. I want to.
That's exactly
wiggle room.
right.
Plus, more numbers. So you can add them together, higher scores. I don't
Then-
think Frankenstein's actually going to score that high on our categories.
No.
Because I was writing them down, and Frankenstein doesn't really rate high on a lot of them.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that's what it's all about. And of course, we want you guys to join in the conversation and let us know what you think. And what scores would you give these monsters?
Yeah, and you can put comments in, but you have to show your work.
Oh, you
Show
can't just
your
say,
work.
"Oh, Frankenstein sucks." You have
No,
to
you gotta say why.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay, I don't care if you can just put Frankenstein sucks if you want. I don't care. Well, we'll see if Frankenstein sucks.
Wait. There we go. Doesn't suck.
Housekeeping.
Not a lot of housekeeping. Go to spookyroomproductions.com and there will be a link there for the podcast, and that's where you'll get the show notes of anything we come up with while we're doing here. And I think at least a link to the book, because you can get it on that internet place where free stuff is.
What book are we talking about?
Frankenstein.
Oh.
Mary Shelley.
Oh, like the actual book.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
public domain, so there'll be a link to that there if you want to watch it.
There's a copy right back there.
Oh, look at that. It's right over there.
Yeah, it's right there.
What are the odds? Why is it over there?
Because we're talking about Frankenstein.
Oh, and
today.
you got it out. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I thought it was just a weird coincidence.
I mean, it's a weird coincidence. Oh my God. That's weird.
Where do you remember first seeing Frankenstein?
I feel like it's like the Flintstones or something like that.
Oh, really? Like a cartoon?
Yeah, like
He was in a lot of cartoons.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like when the Flintstones had their spooky neighbors. Was one of
Oh,
them a
yeah.
Frankenstein?
They were like the Munsters ripoff.
Yeah. I
Like
don't
not
know.
an Addams Family ripoff, but they're more of a Munsters ripoff.
Yeah, they're definitely a Monsters ripoff.
Mhm.
I really don't know. I don't know.
Me
I
either.
feel like he's always been there. But if I was to guess, it would probably be some
So I
version
feel
of
like
him in a
Frankenstein, more than
cartoon.
any of the other monsters, was the most kid-friendly. So you see him in a lot of like cartoons and toys and like books. There was always like Frankenstein is always there. He's like, he's the one that's okay. Frankenstein will be your friend. Because in the original movie, if you go back and watch it again, 1931, I think it's 1931. They didn't actually show, that classic scene where the little girl's like giving him throwing flowers into the water,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "Hey, you can do it." So he picks her up and he throws her in the water.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That classic scene that wasn't actually in the original cut of the movie.
Okay.
So they cut that out because they're like, "Oh, we can't show like throwing a kid in the water," because it was the 30s and the codes and all that stuff.
Mm.
So you don't actually see him hurt a little girl in the movie. So you don't really know why all the villagers are going up with the torches, because that's when they're like, "Oh, I'll get the torches and hurt the monsters." All you see is him being abused by like the assistant who's whipping him and hurting him with fire. And you're like, "Oh, they're not being nice to that guy." And then all of a sudden the villagers all want to kill him, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah, my memories of the movie are even hazier than that of the book. Oh my god, does that mean we have to watch all the Marvel Universal Monster movies?
Yes, we are. They're not the best. Not the best. But the Frankenstein ones are pretty good. Like Bride of Frankenstein's pretty good, and what's the third one after that? I don't remember, but that's one with Bela Lugosi
Son of
playing Igor.
Frankenstein.
Is it Son?
No.
It probably is.
It only makes sense if you look at it from a bride
That's
situation.
true, but that's one that's Bela Lugosi, and he plays Igor.
You know what?
Who wasn't
Actually,
his assistant. Igor was not his assistant.
speaking of Bride of Frankenstein, can you explain? Because you're going to get a lot of heat from people saying Frankenstein is not the name of the monster.
Because I say it's okay to call him Frankenstein.
And here you go. This is
Because
why. And I didn't. This is his decision. I brought up the issue, but he explained
Because of course everyone knows that this is not Frankenstein. This is the
monster.
The monster that Frankenstein made. This is not Frankenstein. This is Frankenstein's monster. His name was Adam.
Okay.
But in the book, but in the movie, he's just Frankenstein's monster. And Bela Lugosi is titled as the monster.
Yes.
So, and in the posters, it was just the monster played by ?
Yes.
At the beginning of the movie, and then later on they put him in the credits anyway, but they wanted it to be all mysterious. So, oh yeah. I say it's okay to call this a Frankenstein because when they say Bride of Frankenstein, it's not a bride of the doctor, it's a bride of him. So this is a Frankenstein.
So, and if you want to be mad about this with someone,
you want to be mad
with
about
Ripley,
it, it's fine.
Not with me.
Because, of course, this is the Frankenstein's monster, but I like to call him Frankenstein.
There you go.
And everyone does it anyway. So
At him. Okay.
I know. It's like words that you're not pronouncing right, but nobody knows how to pronounce right, so you have to pronounce it that way, so otherwise they won't know. But Frankenstein's the nice one. Because, in the movies you didn't see him actually kill the girl, so they all come up and they're all attacking Frankenstein, and it's just like, oh, everyone can be his friend. So that's why I think he shows up in, like, a lot of kids' stuff all the time, like in the 50s when they started showing them, late 50s, early 60s, they started showing them on TV a lot. And then, of course, they'd have to edit it down again, so all the bad stuff is there. So it really makes him seem like an okay guy. Frankenstein's okay. But Dracula, you're like, he's obviously the villain. Mummy's obviously the villain. Werewolf, obviously the villain. But Frankenstein's like a little conflicted. That's why you see him in like all these little kids stuff. Frankenstein. And the reason I like Frankenstein is because he was in a lot of like children's books. There was like a children's book a while back that was like how to have a pet monster. So it was stuff like, if you have a Frankenstein, you have to feed him this, and if you have a mummy, you have to feed it that. I don't remember exactly what it was. I've been looking for another copy. But I was online a little while back, and I saw the covers for it. And I was like, oh, I remember this from when I was like 7, and they were really big in the 70s. And so they were still kicking around at yard sales a lot when we were kids. And then there would be like lots of Frankenstein toys, or he'd be on like things you'd stick on your bike, or stickers, or all the Universal monsters got that kind of treatment. I love Frankenstein.
He's a little biased. But that's okay.
Yes. So you got the book, then you got a movie, 1931, and the movie came around because, of course, Dracula was so big, and that was the first talkie from Universal. And they said, we have to make another one. They're like, oh, okay, let's do another Gothic novel, because they didn't really have horror yet. So they would do these Gothic novels. It's another one in that vein. But weirdly enough, they didn't go with the romance angle like they did with Dracula. Because, of course, Bride of Frankenstein has that whole secondary, the doctor has his wife, and Frankenstein ends up killing her, but they take that whole storyline out, and that's all the stuff that ends up in Bride of Frankenstein. What?
Are you saying that Frankenstein the doctor kills the wife, or that Frankenstein the monster?
Oh, yeah. Frankenstein's monster kills Frankenstein's wife.
No, I thought that... Oh, I thought you were talking about Frankenstein the monster's wife was killed by Frankenstein the doctor, which I think is how it goes.
That actually did how it happened, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, ooh.
He was like, I'm not going to do this, and he tears her all up, and he's like, well, screw you, I'm going to kill your wife. And then he runs off into the north, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So they had a love story there, and they could have done it again, which is probably the reason that Dracula was so popular, but Frankenstein did just as well. And then the Mummy later on is basically a hack job of, like, Dracula.
Whoa, hey.
What?
We gotta focus on Frankenstein here. We can't.
I'm just saying that they had this one story that didn't have romance, but then they go back to romance for the Mummy, and then I think even the Wolfman, they had a romance going on there too. So they're like, we understand romance is important to people, but this one movie we're going to get rid of it. It was very strange.
And that's the one you like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a monster. He's all like, whoa.
They all have monsters.
Yeah, but Dracula's not cool.
No, Dracula's not.
And
Well,
I'm
you
going
know
to take
what?
heat on that when we get to that one.
We will see.
I'm going to give them
because
some still pretty good scores, but yeah, as far as vampires,
look, you have to be honest.
you got to say what you want. We got books, we got movies. I mean, there's a lot of movies from Frankenstein because they did the original series. So you've got like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, then the Abbott and Costello Frankenstein. So there's a lot of Frankenstein stuff, but then he pops up again like way later. You got stuff like the Munsters, obviously Frankenstein. Munsters? Yes.
Yep.
And Rob Zombie's doing a new Munsters movie.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh.
okay. Well, we'll see.
To mixed reactions.
Mm.
Because it's just like, I would watch that movie if he did it as a hard R. Like just all the neighbors are getting killed all the time. But I don't know if it's gonna work as like just a straight family movie comedy. I can't see Rob Zombie doing that.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Open mind.
I know. Because if you're gonna do like a comedy regular family movie, why get Rob Zombie to do it?
Maybe he was like, I'm over the gore thing.
He wanted to do the Munsters years and years ago, like a long time ago, and I think he just kept lobbying for it and he finally got it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Powers.
Frankenstein doesn't have any powers,
Ooh.
so that's why he's not the greatest of monsters, but he's really big. So you got Frankenstein here, and other people are like around here. So.
Wait, I should write
He's
this
kinda
on my
tough.
thing.
Oh yeah, you got the board there. Powers.
Okay, powers. Oh, that says powers. That's how you spell that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we go with Frankenstein 31, Universal, doesn't really impress anyone because he can't even talk. He's pretty tough. He's tall, strong, but other than that, nothing. If you go with the book, he was genius. Learned a lot of stuff. Was able to withstand the cold when he goes to the north. Super fast, super strong. But let's go with Universal Frankenstein,
Okay,
so we can have an even playing field for all the monsters.
makes sense.
Do you think we should?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go with the Universal Frankenstein. So just really strong is his only power, and maybe suit wearing, like monsters with a blazer.
I do like monsters with a blazer.
I mean, there's not many of them.
Okay.
Oh, does Lon Chaney Jr. wear a blazer? So okay, we got two.
Yes.
I'm gonna wear a blazer. So as far as powers go, I give him a solid out of 10.
Yeah.
What, 2?
2.
I mean,
Okay,
he hardly has anything.
How strong are we talking? Like how strong? Like
I mean, he could pick a guy up and throw him,
pick a guy up.
but he's not like knocking down walls and stuff.
Could he pick up a car?
No, I don't think so. So that's the thing.
Could he bust in a door?
Like a regular door,
Like more
maybe.
than like a
Like a house
easier
door?
than a normal person.
But not like a castle door.
Uh,
So yeah, it's like I bet you he'd be as strong as like a large wrestler.
mm.
No,
Yeah, out of 10.
not even
as
like
far
superhuman strength.
As far as monsters
But in the
go.
book, they said things like he made him extra large because it'd be easier to work on all the sinews and things because they're all on a larger scale.
Mm.
So he'd be like the strength of 1.5 or up to 2 men. It's just like, okay. And
Okay, I'll give him a 2 as well.
yeah, it's just not so solid.
Okay.
And really, when you're writing sequels, like there's not a lot to work with there, especially for the Universal one. It's just like, oh, he can't even talk. Nah. He talks to that blind guy a little while, and he can say smoke. I think he has a cigar, and he's like, smoke, fire bad.
Smoke.
Which is funny because he's quite eloquent in the book, but that's the way they go.
Bar fighting.
All right. Bar fight. Well, I mean, if he's super strong and he's in a bar fight,
I mean, bar fighting.
that's
This category is, literally, this monster walks into a bar, like say a biker bar, and he's like, "I'm going to take you all out." He's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
You can't. He's basically.
He's huge. He's
He's huge,
strong. He's
and
violent.
they never really talk about his healing powers. You know, maybe he's a little bit better healing than other people because he's got whatever magic voodoo that brought him back to life.
Okay, that's just totally you saying that, though, isn't it? You just want him to have healing powers.
I know, right?
So, I mean, obviously, what?
So just straight up like bar fighting, yeah, it's going to be out there.
Okay.
Like an 8.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, I suppose like a monster who could just eat the whole bar would probably get a higher score. So I guess I couldn't give him like a 10.
Yes, but you know we're talking about bar fighting. So like a monster that would like do all that, they might be able to like use a table to push him back or do something like that. But this guy's got the agility of a human.
Yeah, that's not great. All right, a giant human, like giant people aren't that. I don't know, agile.
Yeah, but he's
okay.
Frankenstein.
I give him a 7.
You know.
I give him a 7.
All right. So we'll average that.
Oh.
7.5.
Okay.
We're already getting into halvesies.
That's fine. Okay. Next.
Weaknesses.
Weaknesses. Okay.
Weaknesses.
So.
None. Right?
Well, if he has the same weaknesses as a human being.
Well, yeah.
Unless he has these imaginary healing powers that you made up because you don't want him to ever die. And
although he kind of does have those in the
Come
Universal
on.
movies, because he falls off that flaming, windmill, and he's okay and things like that. But I'm going to put that aside and say that he doesn't have weaknesses in the way that you would consider other monsters have weaknesses, like garlic. It's just like, garlic is a pretty solid weakness. It's just like, I can be completely thwarted by garlic. So, I mean, like, supernatural monster weaknesses. Doesn't really have any.
okay, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Although
So
people are like, fire bad, and it was just like, yeah, humans think fire is bad too.
So weaknesses, the higher the score on the weakness is, the weaker that they are.
The higher the score means less weakness, because you want them to have a high score. So I'd say like a 10. No weaknesses.
I don't. Come on. Are you serious?
None.
He has no weaknesses.
Back
He's
it up.
as weak as a human being. If I took an axe to him,
But I mean, a
he'd
weakness,
be dead.
like something that will defeat him.
Anything could defeat him.
I mean, like compared to a regular human, is he weak? The weakness is the.
Okay, I give him a 2. I give him a 1 if you're giving him a 10.
But compared to a human, like a weakness is
Yeah,
something like.
compared to a human.
something
He's
that-
very comparable to a
I
human.
don't think you understand the category.
Okay,
I'll
explain.
explain it again.
Good.
Like a vampire with garlic.
Yeah.
Humans are not thwarted by garlic.
Okay, so it's relative to humans?
No, I mean it's a weakness, like a supernatural kind of weakness.
Oh, I thought it was just a weakness of, like, overall weakness.
No. It's like something that defeats them.
So he has nothing that can see this.
I don't think you're understanding the way I'm explaining it.
Explain
Like
again.
crosses. If I held a cross to you,
Yes.
what would you do? Nothing.
Okay.
If I held the cross up to a vampire, I'd be like, I don't like that.
Sure.
That's a weakness.
Yes.
So weaknesses, none.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about the rating system is that some of the monsters are going to have like a lot of weaknesses. You're like, they're pretty easy to defeat. You just got to do this stuff.
All right. So for weaknesses,
So this section is called weaknesses. Frankenstein has none. So I'd give him a 10.
okay, fine, 10.
You're just gonna buy that one?
Yeah, I don't care. It's 10.
Pack size.
Well, it's just one Frankenstein. That's pretty lame. Like there's never gonna be more than him. He's the only one.
So the answer is 1.
So, yeah, I guess he would just be a 1 on that.
I guess the pack size is never going to be out of 10.
Well, it's a gauge whether
I
there's a
suppose.
bunch.
Okay, 1. That's easy enough.
Because like in theory, zombies that'd be a high pack size. That'd be like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's sometimes a lot of zombies.
1 it is.
So I go for a 1.
It has to be 1.
It's literally 1. So yeah, we're not going to get outnumbered by Frankensteins. He's just one of them. He's all right. So in theory, it's you're not going to get surrounded.
Spookiness.
All right. Spookiness. I assume this, before I misunderstand another category,
Mhm.
this is just how scary he is?
Yeah. How scary is he?
0.
He's pretty low. Other than just being a big guy, but that's not monstrous, and you just saw a guy that big walking around and be like, oh, he must have a hard time finding clothes that fit, or
I mean, I guess
walking
he's...
under doorways.
Is he smelly? Does he smell like rotting?
Well, I mean, he's got the scars, but it's just like, you see a guy with scars.
Is his flesh dead?
Well, no, it's alive.
Is it look dead? Is it gray?
No.
Is it green?
Well, in the book it doesn't, but in the movie it's supposed to look a little gross. Like a 1 on spookiness?
I'll go for 2 because I'm scared of men.
Okay, well that's solid.
So 1.5.
Kill factor.
He doesn't have crazy good kills. He could smash someone, throw them off a cliff into a river. Yeah, but he doesn't, stab them through the chest with a fist or anything. I think he actually does do that in a movie, but
Does he?
in like one of them.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not like he has like a scorpion tail or something that's going to mess you up or, weird stuff like that. So like, on the kill factor, it's like a 1, really. He doesn't do anything really impressive.
Yeah. I'm also going to give him a 1 on that. He's not scoring well. I think you're right.
Like really, they should have did Frankenstein movies in the 80s. They did it in the 90s when they were trying to do like that whole Gothic revival thing after Bram Stoker's Dracula. And like in the 70s, before they had like gruesome kills in movies, if they'd done a Frankenstein movie in the 80s, it would have been like all CG. He'd be like busting heads and like going like this, and their heads would explode, or like just tearing arms off and stuff like that. But no, he doesn't get any of that. So I guess it's just a 1.
Done.
All right,
1 and done.
1 and done.
Okay, Sean.
All right. Explaining location. Do rip.
Location is, could it be close to you? So Loch Ness Monster, not so scary if you live in
Yeah.
America. But Frankenstein, he can go anywhere. But
He does.
likely, he's only going to go to like the North Pole.
Well,
Starts
we're
off in like Germany or something.
Canadian, so
Uh-oh, he could come down.
yeah.
All right, so I'll give him like a 3.
I would assume that would be a high number because he really could be anywhere.
I guess, yeah.
There's no limit. I guess the skies.
But he can't take a plane.
Yes, but he
Like,
just makes a raft. He's a superhuman or whatever.
Oh well, yeah.
He can handle crossing an ocean. Or not, because if he can't, then his weakness should be like a 2.
Yeah, so well, okay, we'll give him like a location of 3.
Again, I think I misunderstand what the thing
How
is.
likely is he going to get to you personally?
10? He could go anywhere. What's stopping him?
All right, let's do an average between 10 and 2.
Okay. Okay. So it's 6?
All right.
I don't know. I'm not math.
Would you fuck it?
Would you fuck it? Rip, would you fuck it?
Like personally, no, but
Come on.
if he was like,
He's tall. He's ambitious.
yeah, he's probably a real protector, like a daddy figure.
like, okay, well, obviously, if we're talking about this,
Like if
then-
you're into dudes, like he's got some scars.
well, the thing,
all right.
the thing is, whose genitals does he have? Let's just say it.
What? Well,
Well, I mean, if he's gonna pick any genitals, then
oh, all right.
that's size-wise or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And does the doctor hook it all up?
Well,
Like,
the doctor
is-
made him pretty much from scratch, so if you want the whole thing with scale, it would be larger.
Yes, but is it like functional? Does the doctor say, well, you know what, he was making him a wife, so.
And he's alive. He still has to like urinate and whatnot.
I know, but urination and fucking are different.
Well, yeah,
I
but
hope to you.
we'll assume it's all good. I would assume it would be.
All right,
If you
so
can bring someone to life, and if that Bobbit guy's still got a dick, then this guy's got a dick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so would you fuck it?
Well, I wouldn't, but I
1 to
think
10.
A little fuckable.
1 to 10.
Give him a 2.
2? All right.
No, a 3. I'll give him a 3.
Ooh. I would
You probably
give,
feel pretty safe with
again,
Frankenstein.
does he smell? Like, I don't want to...
Plus, he's got the bride.
He
Although that-
didn't get that
Yeah,
bride.
that's true. It didn't really work out. I think she sets herself on fire rather than marry him. But
Well, that's-
you know,
You know what? I had to look at what
She-
another woman does.
she-
She has more information. She has inside information.
she was planning on marrying the doctor.
Oh.
Although in Bride of Frankenstein in the movie, I can't remember how that goes down. I think she kills herself too. I think they all do, rather than be with him.
That's nice.
So yeah, he's got some bad street cred.
Let me. Well,
Bad boy though,
Okay.
and the blazer.
That he does try
Yeah.
compared to some of my ex-boyfriends. All right. Okay, fine. I'll give him a 7.
What?
I like tall men.
Wow.
So the average.
I did not expect that.
Really? Oh, average between 3 and 7. The difference is 4, so I guess that's a 5. Wait a minute. I gotta go back and do my other math. Yeah, the difference is 8, so that's 6. Okay, yeah, so fuck it. 5 out of 10.
All right, it's not bad.
Congratulations.
Not bad for a monster.
Frankenstein's monster.
I think Lon Chaney Jr. is going to get less. I guess if we're just looking at the 1931 Frankenstein monster deal.
Oh, this is no numbers. This is just conversation.
Yeah,
All right.
this is the conversation portion. I would have just made him talk. Like, why does he have to do the whole, fire bad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, that, it really limits the character, especially with sequels. Although it's a little weird, and I think it is Son of Frankenstein, where Bela Lugosi puts his brain inside of the monster.
Is
so
it
he
really
can-
Son of Frankenstein?
Probably.
That's funny.
We're just going to go with it.
Okay. That's what it is now.
And Bela Lugosi puts his brain inside of Frankenstein, and then he can talk, and that's a better thing. I don't know why they just went with that. I'm going to make him a stupid monster. I guess that's the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah.
But that's not improving on the original story either, so...
To improve on the story, I guess I would just make it spookier. Like, why can't he be smelly and falling apart a little bit?
Oh, like full zombie Frankenstein.
Well,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. You know, the thing is, I don't really know the story well enough to be able to pick apart small details like
But
that.
I mean, if you are going to take away the, his ability
Humanity.
to speak and whatnot, you might as well make him a full-on monster. Where he is like, parts are falling off, and maybe the doctor's bolting them on as they go along, and that would be cool.
Maybe it's like a death becomes her situation.
Oh yes.
That's a good movie, by the way.
And plus, as you're adding things as you go along, you can improve him.
Oh,
You'd be like, I'm going to add a buzzsaw this time.
yeah.
Or the doctor could be like Frankenstein as well. Or you could be, the doctor could be Frankenstein as well. The doctor could also be like putting stuff back on himself so it can keep the monster going. And, you could see him in like the 90s or the year 2020 and they'd be like, oh man, we are falling apart. Look at all this stuff added onto them, extra arms, lame parts. What is the worst part of Frankenstein?
He's boring.
He is a little boring, right? Like if you don't have the whole doctor part of the story, it's just not that interesting because the
No.
whole part is watching this doctor fall apart because he brought this man back to life and he feels really bad about it, and then his creation goes off and kills people, and he comes back and kills like people in his family. But in the movie again, they just take it all that part out and they're just like, oh, I've been a horrible person and blah blah blah. The story's just not as interesting.
Yeah. I agree with you. He's not.
But I guess you got 1930s. They're like, oh look, there's a guy walking around looking slightly different from a regular guy.
I think reanimated flesh is supposed to be scary enough, but maybe it's because we're so jaded or so
Yeah.
used to the idea of Frankenstein that
Mm.
it's boring. But maybe when he was created, it was an exciting concept. But
Well, yeah,
nah.
people coming back from the dead, and you're just like, he could have just come back as a regular guy. They could have just had that story where it's just like he just brings back a regular guy, and there you go, and they sit around, play chess, and do stuff like that. They could have just wrote that story. I guess that wouldn't have been a horror story. So we'll let that go.
Final score.
Total score.
Total score.
What's his total score?
Out of 80,
Yeah.
34.
I mean, pretty weak.
And that's with a controversial weakness score. Because I would, it would have been a little less, probably 30.
But that's why we have two people. We average them out sometimes. And the people are going to tell us what they think as well.
Yes. Did we rip him off? Does he deserve more? Did we give him too much credit?
I mean, he's
How
my
do you
favorite.
think
I don't feel
weakness
like
should
I
be
was being a
scored?
little high.
What?
I feel like he's my favorite, and I still give him pretty bad scores.
Yeah, no, you were, except for that, imaginary healing situation you tried to conjure up. I think you were
It's
very
a possibility.
fair. Oh, anything's possible. You don't get to know a lot about him, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But what monster do you get to know? Except your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. So more to come. We're gonna do a couple more stories about some Frankenstein auxiliaries, things in a similar vein, other reanimated creatures, and other type of Frankenstein-y type things. But you'll see them in the next few weeks. We're gonna do another 3. We're gonna do some Frankenstein stuff.
Yeah, more Frankenstein-type monsters. It's going to be great.
Reanimated
and,
things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outro song?
Why don't you come into our monster ball?